Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello, and welcome to another episode. Today is an episode I never thought I would record, but I'm pregnant, and we're talking about how I'm preparing for maternity leave, what I have put in place so that I can be ready to have a baby in just a few months. I have been holding out on you guys. I've been pregnant for quite a while, but because this is an audio podcast, it's pretty easy to keep that secret. So I am sharing all about it, how I've planned, what's going to change, what I've put in place. We will get into all of the exciting details after we head over to the U-Glue hotline for a quick break. Welcome to the U-Glue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks. Brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi there, Sarah. My name is Matt Botham, aka the Balloon Bloke. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm the owner of New Valley Balloons, and we operate in the beautiful Hunter Valley, located in New South Wales, Australia. I have a tip to share with you and your listeners. I run my balloon business part-time, and I work a full-time job. This does make it very difficult for me to take phone calls regarding my balloon business when I'm working at that day job. To help me stay on top of this, I've installed an auto response app on my balloon business phone. The app I use is called Auto Message. How it works is like this. When a customer calls my balloon phone, they're greeted with my voicemail message. The message thanks them for their call and lets them know that when they hang up, they'll receive a text message that'll have a link with my inquiry form on my website. Once they hang up, that app does exactly that. I can fully customize the time, day, and days that this is active. I can also customize the message that is sent to the customer. And I can even set it so it will respond if any customers decide to send me a text message. I can't always answer their call while I'm at work, but at least once they've submitted an inquiry form, my automation kicks in and they don't have to wait for a response. And I guess this way they feel like they've been heard and are less likely to call around and contact my competitors. All of my big pumpkins have my personal number, so if they need me, they don't have to go through this process, which streamlines it for them. And I've also found that this process weeds out all the nonsense inquiries and those people who call and want to place a same-day order, which I just can't accommodate. Obviously, this process isn't for everyone, but I guess it can be used for people that are in a similar working situation to myself, or even for those who really just hate taking phone inquiries. Well, anyway, that's my tip. And I just want to say thanks to you, Sarah, for your sensational podcast. It's inspiring, insightful, and just downright entertaining, and I look forward to hearing it every single week. So thank you, and happy ballooning.
Hey, Matt, I know you didn't even ask a question, but holy cow, I just wanted to hop on here and say, what an amazing tip. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this episode is automating and setting some time aside for myself. I'm definitely going to implement this tool. I could listen to you speak all day with your amazing accent, and it is so exciting that I have listeners in Australia. So thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. Okay, welcome back. So, surprise. I'm pregnant. And you might be surprised, but holy cow, was I surprised. A little bit of history here. So without getting into too many details, my husband and I have tried probably for like 7 years to have kids. It just wasn't in the cards, and went through all the hoops, all the tests. We did everything. And eventually we adopted. So we have a daughter who's 4 years old. Best thing ever to come into our lives through adoption. And we were done. That was it. One was glorious. And then, surprise, surprise, it turns out we can't have kids. So I am expecting another daughter, and she is due in February. So pretty soon, actually. I am pretty far along, and I wasn't really anticipating having to factor in a maternity leave. That was much easier to wrap my head around when I had a 9-to-5 full-time job, because that's paid. It's built into the structure. There are people to cover for you. It is a whole different ballgame when you're self-employed. So I have a great group of girlfriends that also have balloon businesses. Many of them have had children during business ownership. So I have a lot of people to get feedback from, but it's still pretty intimidating. Like, how am I going to keep this thing running while I am, first of all, pregnant? More and more I'm unable to do things. And then after the fact, when I have a newborn baby. So obviously there are the things that we have to figure out, that anyone would have to figure out, like childcare or babysitting. Our grandma's going to help. What are our schedules? My husband and I both kind of work from home. So we're lucky in that sense, but also I have a pretty physical job. So there's just a lot of questions. It's just not as straightforward as when you have a quote unquote regular job. So I am going to chat through kind of how I've prepared. The first thing that I had to kind of look ahead was like 9 months, right? It was like, oh my gosh, what's happening 9 months from now? Luckily, February is when I'm due. And for me, that's a very slow time. And leading into February is slow also. So I'm not too concerned about having to set a chunk of time aside. I think it would be different if I was due in like May through September. That would be really hard. That's when I make the majority of my income. So I already have a huge advantage that the timing just works out. So February is really slow. January, like after New Year's Eve, I'm pretty much just going to slow way, way down. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to feel pretty miserable and slow and sluggish that last month. So I'm going to cut myself a break. February will come. Hopefully everything is great. And then, March, I'll kind of take my time getting back in the swing of things. April, I have my biggest job ever, like by probably 10 times over. It is my biggest job. I will talk about that in the future. But then April will be kind of when I segue back into real life. But I don't really have like a set maternity leave. I'm not like taking 3 months off. I am just kind of going to play it by ear and see what jobs come. But I have some things in place that I've been working on that give me that confidence. I think a year ago, if this had happened, I would have been clueless. I would have been like, I don't know how I'm going to make any money because I'm doing everything. So I have started outsourcing a lot in my business, which I think gives me the confidence that things are going to work out. They're going to be fine. So the biggest thing that I have going in my business right now is my inflator, Kate. So about a year and a half ago, I brought on someone to start inflating my balloons. And like anything, she has improved. She has gotten really fast at inflating. She is now building things if she has time, if she's able. She still just comes like once, maybe twice a week to get things done. But having that time back, even if I wasn't pregnant, has been amazing. So I have Kate to rely on to keep things going. Now, I'm really not going to be looking to bring in business during those months that I've kind of set aside mentally as maternity leave, but I think jobs will still come, and I'm not too worried about losing the income. I have enough saved, so I feel good about that, but I don't want to lose the clients. So if something pops up from one of my big pumpkin clients, I don't want to just turn them away because there's always that risk that if they find a different decorator, they're never coming back. So in the case of some of those bookings, of which I have none right now, I do have Kate who can inflate, make things, and even deliver things in a pinch. So I do have help, which is amazing. I think if I found out I was pregnant and then I was starting to train someone, find someone, put all these, processes in place, that would have been really overwhelming. So I'm so grateful that I started that process well over a year ago because it is definitely paying off. The other person that I have in place is a bookkeeper and tax person. So I use Fiore Tax Services, and knowing that like all my money matters and end of the year taxes and all of that, that I have someone to rely on to do that for me, that also feels like I have another employee, someone helping me out. Another person that I have added that I haven't really talked about much on the podcast because I talked about it a lot over in the book club is a virtual assistant. So I now am working with a virtual assistant, which means that my emails are covered, which is incredible. So new leads coming in are handled by this virtual assistant. So if you want to hear all about that, the nitty gritty, that was the October book of the month over in the Patreon group for our book club. So you can learn all about how I found her, what she does, how we work together. That is over what we read, Virtual Freedom. That was our October book of the month. So that's fairly new, but it's nice that I have someone manning email. So it's not that she's 100% taken over my email, but she has taken over new like incoming leads, which means that probably, mid-February through mid-January, I really want to be kind of offline. Like I don't want to be answering emails. So even if all she does is say that I'm on maternity leave, I think that's better than having an away message up, because if those big pumpkin clients pop through, I'll at least get notified. She'll let me know. And what I'm hoping happens, this is kind of my real game plan, is to direct as many people as possible to grab and go garlands, because those really run themselves. So if someone has an event, and my VA can essentially say, we're taking limited bookings right now because our owner's on maternity leave. Here's what we can offer and have a very limited menu. That way I can put together an offering chart that includes grab and go garlands, maybe some basic helium, maybe some frameless columns. I'm very interested in like little short stacks or something that's more appropriate for either a pickup or like a leave behind item. And that way she can do the booking. It'll go into 17 hats. And then Kate can basically build it and make it. And then, my husband, or probably I, could handle a quick delivery or drop off, or best case scenario, a pickup, because my grab and go garlands are outsourced at a local grocery store. So that way there's still money coming in, but I'm not necessarily having to be on email and be ordering balloons and be doing production and be doing installs. Like I do really want to cut back. Physically, I'm going to need to. And that brings me to kind of another point, which is being pregnant. Like at the time of recording this, I'm 22 weeks. So I'm just over halfway and I'm just starting to show. So I wasn't sick at all. I'm very lucky. I wasn't sick. No real symptoms, no red flags. Nothing has gone wrong. It's been a very boring, very easy pregnancy, which is exactly what you want. And it's funny because I'm considered geriatric because I'm 36. So I'm considered like an old mom, which is actually kind of awesome because then you qualify for like all this additional testing and all these high-tech ultrasounds, and they want to see you like every week. And, I'm on like high alert, even though everything has been normal. I crave mustard on everything, but other than that, it has been a very boring pregnancy, which has been great. It's been fabulous. I'm tired though. I'm very tired. And I keep waiting for that boost of energy that women tell me I'm going to get in my second trimester. But like, guys, it's not coming. I have a toddler. I'm running a business. I'm growing a baby, and I am just tired all the time. So that has been hard. That's been a challenge. And it started to become a challenge on site. Like I am huffing and puffing. And from what I've learned, it's not just because I'm out of shape. It's because your body's actually like producing way more blood and you're having to, obviously adjust. So I get out of breath, like unloading my van, even if I'm not going up a hill or stairs or anything. Like that feels hard. So I have started hiring help more and more. And it's been kind of incredible. So I have a couple friends that I can rely on who will come and do stuff on site with me. So they'll unload the van, they'll bring in the balloons, they'll save me trips. I can tell them, put this helium bouquet over there. So basically an extra set of hands and feet. And that has been a game changer for me too. That's definitely going to be something that I continue doing after I'm pregnant, I'm such a hustler and a grinder. I've just always done everything by myself. And now I'm to a point, I guess I should say I'm to an age where I'm so happy to pay someone $20 an hour to help me, even if it's, for 5 hours, that's $100. I had a huge job and I paid 2 people that rate. So I spent $200 on labor on a $7,000 job, and I didn't break a sweat. So that has been kind of a mindset shift for me, this idea that paying people to help is way more worth it than I think I used to believe. I used to think I can just do that myself. It'll take me a little longer, but then I'll get to keep all the money. And I think being put in a position where I physically can't or shouldn't be doing everything by myself, it's kind of forced my hand and made me hire, and not even hire, just, contract out and rely on other people. And that's been really good for me. That has been something that I've kind of seen the light, and I see that after I have a baby, that is a strategy that I'm going to use moving forward to kind of just take some of the work off my shoulders. Installs can be really hard. I think we underestimate how much energy it takes to spend a half an hour unloading your van when you could spend 10 minutes. It just speeds everything up when you have extra hands, extra feet, extra eyes. And for me, it's extra fun. Having other people with me has made jobs much more enjoyable because I have someone to talk to. I have someone to roll my eyes with when things are going bad. I have someone to, keep me company on long rides. So I really have enjoyed tapping friends and family to help me on site. And I definitely want to build that more into my business, even after my pregnancy. Okay, I want to take a quick break, and then I want to talk about a couple more nitty-gritty sales strategies and I guess how I'm going to play defense as we get into these months where I'm literally not able to take jobs. So we'll take a break. We'll get back to it. Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. At Having a Party Wholesale, they're not just a distributor, they're your partner in success. With the latest and greatest in balloon innovations, they're on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients. From top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Premium Conwin, and more, they've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Elevate your balloon business with premium quality balloons and accessories that'll make every event unforgettable. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at havingaparty.com. Okay, welcome back. So these next few things I'm going to talk about really don't have anything to do with being pregnant. I am just having to do them because I am pregnant, and it's all about pre-scheduling. So I've never been so far scheduled out, and it feels good. So this podcast, for example, won't be affected at all by pregnancy because I'm essentially pre-scheduling out a bunch of episodes. I have a bunch of interviews coming up. I have a lot of pre-recorded episodes. Something else that I talked about a lot in the Patreon group in October was that I also hired a podcast editor. So that is another virtual assistant that I have working for me. And I can just record these episodes now and send them off to the editor to get them, mixed. He puts in the commercials, he puts in the intro and the outro, and we get those uploaded. So pre-scheduling is now the thing that I am relying on the most. And that also goes for social media. That also goes for my client newsletters. So I am working on typing up my client newsletters. I only do 1 or maybe 2 a month, and I very much treat them like newsletters. I share what's going on in my company. I share what's coming up. I share some of my favorite jobs. I'm not usually trying to sell very hard. I'm just kind of trying to stay in people's inbox. And I have a small community, so people do like hearing what's going on in my business and my life. But I am trying to pre-write some of that content because that is another thing that my virtual assistant is able to do for me. She is able to go into Flowdesk, set up the email, copy and paste the content, and send that out to my clients. So that is all going to go on autopilot. I already mentioned the podcast is going to go on autopilot. Social media is going to go on autopilot. So pre-scheduled posts through later.com. And, normally I should be doing this stuff, but it's not always necessary, right? Like I don't love being like 4 months ahead on the podcast because sometimes I get a great interview that I want to pop in earlier, or something kind of relevant is happening in real time that I want to talk about. But in this case, I'm just needing to pre-plan, and it feels really good, honestly. I feel very organized. I feel like every episode that I pre-schedule is like another week that I can relax and not have to worry about things. And the same goes for my business. Anything that can be preset and ready to go is not unique to having a baby. That's something that we could all be doing all the time. But I think it's something that gets put on the back burner because we're just so busy running our businesses. So pre-scheduling, pre-planning, kind of goal setting. I know that's really odd, but like I'm getting all my goals crystal clear. November is usually my month to do that. I go to Balloon Boss Summit every November, and that really gets me in the mode for ending the year strong and planning my next year. So I'm sitting down and I'm having to set realistic goals. Like I don't think I'm going to hit my same sales number next year that I hit this year because I'm essentially taking a few months off, and then I have to account for having a newborn baby. So it's just a season where I need to wrap my head around slowing down. And that's really hard for me. I'll be honest, like I am thrilled to be having a baby, but I wasn't preparing to slow down. Like I was preparing to amp up. Like I have big plans for my business, for this podcast, just for life in general. Like I thought I was done with kids. So now having another one, I am not looking forward to slowing down, honestly. Like I love working. I love what I do. So it is a bit of a test to have to cut back. So, okay, let's talk about that too, because I think some of these concepts and ideas apply to people who aren't having a baby. Like you might need to cut back because you're caring for an elderly parent, or you had shoulder surgery, or your spouse is unwell, or your kids are going through something. So I think, it's not just having a baby where you might need to take a couple months pretty much off. I think there are other life situations and changes where this will apply too. So I have a few more strategies, very concrete things that I'm doing to prepare to take that time off that I'm going to share with you. Let's take a quick break. I literally need to catch my breath. I don't know if you can tell, but like speaking has become hard for me. The out of breathness, you guys, like I wasn't prepared. So I'm going to take a quick break and then I will finish it off with a few strategies that not only I'm going to do, but you can do too if you ever need to take an extended leave.
Are you looking to grow the number of businesses you're working with? From the small retail shop doing a grand opening in your downtown to the large Fortune 500 that has a fulfillment center or a warehouse or a large office building in your community. On the Balloon Suite blog, you can find the details on how to find and approach businesses of all types and of all ranges and size so that you can grow your sales and grow your revenue per order. Come on over to the Balloon Suite blog to learn more at balloonsuite.com.
All right, caught my breath. Welcome back. Now, the last strategy that I have put in place is recruiting other balloon artists. So this is why it's really great to have a network of friendly competitors, I'm going to say, like people who do exactly what you do, but you're on great terms and you trust each other. So I reached out to one of my friends in the area who has a balloon business about an hour away, and I told her I am expecting and just kind of explained that, again, I'm not too worried about the income that I'm going to lose, but I don't want to lose clients, right? I don't want to lose that annual recurring income. So I asked if she would essentially be me in a situation, either wear an unmarked shirt or maybe even wear my brand to do a delivery and basically act as an installer, take over the entire job. I will essentially give her the entire amount, the entire contract. I don't need a cut of it, but she will be essentially doing the jobs as me. So I think that that is a great strategy that you can use if you have an emergency or you need to be gone or you need to take time off. You can rely on another balloon artist that you're friendly with to do those jobs for you. So she'll be using her supplies, she'll be using her van, she'll be using, her time, obviously. I am just going to basically give her those jobs and she'll make the profit, which leads me to a couple things. This is why you, don't want to be the local balloon bully, right? Like you want to have friends in the industry. And you also want to have competitive prices. If you are charging less than anybody else, it's going to be hard for you to have someone take over a job if, you can't pay them what they would actually pay. So for example, I have a $500 helium balloon job that this particular artist is going to do for me. If I was charging rock bottom prices for helium and she physically couldn't even make a profit, there'd be no reason for her to do that job. Like, she needs to be compensated. So having high prices actually gives you that advantage because people are really going to want to take some of your jobs because they're going to make a lot of money from it. So you don't want to be way under market value in your pricing in case you ever need to contract out an entire job. The second thing that you have to keep in mind with these artists is that you need to have a trust factor, right? Like, she knows that I want this client in the future. That's why I am kind of farming it out, because I don't want to lose the contract. Again, I don't care about losing the job. I just don't want to lose that client. So it's someone that I really trust, that she's not going to go in and try to pass out her cards and steal my clients. And I'm sure that's happened in the past, but I think that's why having real friendships in the industry is super, super valuable. So I love that I have that person to rely on to just take that burden off of me during those few months and really accept some of those jobs. And again, it's a favor, but it's also profitable for her. Like, she's making the entire amount, and I am doing that because I trust that she's not going to try to take that client from me. Now, a couple nuts and bolts, things that I have in place that I'm really glad I have in place is a hefty savings account. So I am a saver, and I'm very glad that I have 3 months worth of income in the bank. And I have more than that, but like, I could essentially not work for 3 months. I could give myself a paid maternity leave and feel comfortable. So if you are not in that situation, I would highly recommend checking out the episodes on Profit First or reading Profit First. It's a book by Mike Michalowicz. That is a cash flow system that essentially encourages you to save and pay yourself. So I'm in a good situation financially. I also have a spouse who has a full-time job, so we have advantages there as well. And the other thing is that I have insurance. So I quit my full-time job in March, and insurance was like the big thing that scared me from quitting. Everyone just kind of told me like, oh, getting insurance on your own is so expensive. Well, it's not. And I'm very glad that I have health insurance, that, having this baby has cost pretty much nothing. Like, everything is covered. So that would be a huge stressor if I was self-employed and chose not to have health insurance. So if any of you do not, I would highly, highly recommend checking it out. I did an episode with my friend Erin, who is an insurance saleswoman, and she is super knowledgeable. She can get you health insurance, but I would be in a horrible situation if I didn't have health insurance right now. So having some of those safety nets in place have made this entire process, pretty stress-free, pretty laid back. And like I said, I'm old. I'm 36. I'm like a grandma, apparently, in the baby world. So, they're treating me like I'm this 100-year-old skeleton having a baby, even though physically I feel fine. But that means more appointments, more check-ins, more ultrasounds, more vitamins, more everything. So I'm very glad that I have health insurance to cover those expenses. So that about does it for my big announcement. So I'm sure I'll have follow-up episodes because I am in kind of an interesting situation where I'm a second-time mother, but first-time expecting mother. So I know how to have a baby and raise a baby. I don't really know the recovery side of that, the delivery side. In a sense, it feels a lot easier than adoption because when you're adopting, nothing is on your timeline, nothing is known. You are not in control of anything. So adoption was definitely a challenge, but at the time I had a full-time job, so I wasn't super, stressed out about my balloon business. This feels like a whole new rodeo. I am very excited though, and kind of my big overview is having help internally in my business. So a virtual assistant, an inflator, someone to install in a pinch, also setting some time aside with pre-planning and scheduling, and then finally relying on local balloon artists to just kind of take on some of my jobs, because I do obviously want to be in a little cocoon enjoying my little brand new baby when she arrives, and I don't want balloons to be the thing that's stressing me out. So I'm very excited, and I'm excited to share more with all of you. So any well wishes, prayers, good juju you want to send for these last few months, I appreciate it. And I will talk to you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.